Good afternoon. Thank you and welcome to the December 10th, 2025 CPA Workshop and Water and Wastewater Impact Fees Public Workshop number 2. I'm going to go ahead and call this meeting to order. Roll call by vote, please.
Good afternoon. Hagan? Bowles?
Here.
Cepeda?
Here.
Cohen?
Here.
Miller?
Here.
Myers?
Here.
Wolftel?
Here.
You have a quorum, ma'am.
Thank you very much. I will now turn this meeting over to Melissa Leinhart with the Planning Commission to begin the presentation.
Thank you. Good afternoon, commissioners. Before I introduce item A1, I have an update.
Is everyone having audio problems?
We're getting some feedback, sure.
Yeah, it can barely.
I'm muted and it seems to be helping, Harry.
Madam Chair, would you like me to continue?
Let's see if you continue. Maybe if those folks can mute their systems, because it did help. Once I muted my system, it helped.
All right, thank you very much. Can you all hear me okay? Okay, thank you. So before I introduce item A1, I just wanted to let you all know that I have an update on item A8, which is HCCPA 25-32. The applicant has continued this item to the January cycle of plan amendments. With that, we can start with item A1, which will be presented by Tyreek Royal. Thank you.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. Tyreek Royal, Planning Commission staff. Today I'll be presenting HCCPA 2501 at 2002 West Highway 60. This request is privately initiated, small-scale map amendment with approximately 9.5 acres. The request is to change the land use designation from residential 1 to suburban mixed-use 6. The location of the site is in the eastern portion of unincorporated Hillsborough County. This is a part of the October 2025 cycle. It is within the rural area, wellhead protection area, and not located within the limits of a community plan. This is an aerial photo of the site outlined in pink. It's located north of State Road 60, south of Mud Lake Road. The surrounding uses include agricultural uses to the west and south, single-family uses to the north, and light commercial uses to the east. You may recognize this site. It came before you previously as an office commercial proposed future land use designation, and the board directed it to come back to the Planning Commission to be reviewed under suburban mixed-use 6. The site is in a residential 1 future land use category, allows for the consideration of agricultural, farms, ranches, residential, neighborhood, commercial, offices, and multi-purpose projects. Commercial uses are subject to locational criteria. The site is approximately 1.7 miles from the urban service area, and the public quasi-public area is Madar Park. The applicant is requesting the change of future land use category from residential 1 to suburban mixed use 6. The SMU 6 category allows for agricultural, residential, neighborhood, commercial, office uses, research corporate park uses, light industrial, multi-purpose, and clustered residential and or mixed uses. Office uses are not subject to locational criteria. The change from residential 1 to suburban mixed use 6 would allow for an increase in development by allowing significantly higher residential density, greater commercial intensity. The density of 1 dwelling unit per gross acre would increase to 6 dwelling units per gross acre, and the commercial intensity would increase from a 0.25 FAR, or approximately 103,000 square feet, to a maximum of a 0.5 FAR, or approximately 206,000 square feet. And that does conclude my presentation. I'm here with any questions if you have.
If folks have questions, you're going to have to help me identify yourself. I can only see, one panel at a time here.
Madam Chair, like to make a comment.
Yes, sir. You're recognized, sir.
I would just like to point out that this is still a pretty big jump up. So maybe I'll have to hear further details, but this is introducing a pretty significant increase of user pattern in the area that, as we've seen, once one gets in, it just creates a kind of a snowball effect to the surrounding areas. It's pretty far out there. Typically, this is where you'd expect maybe like a Res 4 come in, but that's just my high-level comments. Thank you.
I have one question or comment related to that, Commissioner Whistle, but directed at staff. Because that's like right on the lower half of the city, how does that come in, Melissa? And when you're looking at the land use, so in other words, that's the rural and unincorporated Hillsborough County, but just to the north of that has been annexed in by the city and is pretty dense. Can we talk about how that would look?
You mean the city of Plant City?
Ma'am.
Yes, we do experience quite a bit of development pressure on the eastern portion of unincorporated Hillsborough County, where we do abut the city of Plant City. That has been a discussion in the past, and we've actually been in discussions with them regarding similar issues with the I-4 corridor study for the USA expansion area study that's going on currently. So that has been a discussion with Plant City staff. It has also consistently been a pressure that we have seen from a plan amendment perspective, just given the increased density and intensity that you do see in Plant City. But ultimately, this parcel is in unincorporated Hillsborough County, and it is water or sewer, and we would expect it to carry, a lower density and a lower intensity future land use category. So we'll be reflecting that when we make our consistency finding in the beginning of next year for this item.
Well, I would agree with that too. I'd like to keep that as rural as I can. I just was wondering how much pressure you were getting, because it is absolutely racked and stacked with dense housing going literally just to the north. Have you been out that way recently, Commissioner Whistle? Even in the last 2 months, it's unbelievable how many apartment complexes have gone up.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
And Commissioner Miller and Commissioner Whistle, you both make very good points about this plan amendment, and we will be sure to address those issues in our consistency finding report, which you all will see toward the beginning of next year. But I just wanted to mention that we'll be digging in a little bit. This is just, kind of a high level briefing, but we will address those issues when we bring this back to you.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Any other questions?
I don't see any.
Okay, well then we can go ahead and move on to item A2, which will be presented by Victoria Duran. Thank you.
Good afternoon, commissioners. Are you guys able to hear me better now? Okay, good. All right, Victoria Duran, Planning Commission staff. Today I will be presenting HCCPA 2526. This is a text amendment to the South Hillsborough County Plan, currently known as the South Shore Area-Wide Systems Plan. You can go ahead to the next slide. Thank you. For some background information, the South Shore Area-Wide Systems Plan was originally adopted in September of 2003 and then later updated in September of 2015. It was established to guide coordinated growth and development in South Hillsborough County by addressing transportation needs, environmental protection, cultural and historic preservation, and economic development. This text amendment is a publicly initiated amendment directed by the Board of County Commissioners earlier this year on July 22nd to rename the South Shore Area-Wide Systems Plan to the South Hillsborough County Plan within the Livable Communities element of the Comprehensive Plan. And the map on your right shows the South Shore Area-Wide Systems Plan boundary highlighted in blue, and the plan also incorporates several other community plans within it. You can go to the next slide. So as a part of this text amendment, all sections and elements referencing community plans within the comprehensive plan were reviewed, and effective policy was only found within the livable communities element. Accordingly, the South Shore Area-Wide Systems Plan, the Ruskin Community Plan, the Riverview Community Plan, the Apollo Beach Community Plan, and the Gibsonton Community Plan will all be updated to reflect the new name and maintain alignment throughout the comprehensive plan. And this proposed name change will not affect the intent of policy. And you can go to the last slide. And this concludes my presentation. I'm available for any questions. Thank you.
Any questions or comments?
Presented by me. So good afternoon, everyone. Melissa Leinhard, Planning. As you all know, there's been a trend of plan amendments in mixed use 6 or SMU 6 and Office 20 or OC 20 in the rural area over the past few years. We've also seen several amendments to light industrial and light industrial planned future land use categories. While those necessarily don't increase density, they for a very urban scale floor area ratio or intensity. Especially the first two categories that I mentioned, they would allow a density and also intensity that's not supported by adopted policy direction. In the past, some policies that have been highlighted in our reports include policies about the rural area and maintaining those densities, the transition of use policies, so having like uses by like uses, and then policies about compatibility, and then community plan visions. Based upon that trend at the August 14th meeting, you all as the Board of County Commissioners directed Planning Commission staff to create a new rural future land use category that would allow for consideration of uses that are more intensive than neighborhood serving commercial, but not as intensive as something like a heavy industrial use. So this would be a category that would try and meet those needs of what we're seeing from a plan amendment trend perspective, while also balancing the policies that we already have adopted in the comprehensive plan. Next slide, please. So this is a publicly initiated text amendment proposed by Planning Commission staff that would add a new future land use category, rural light industrial, to table 2.2 of the future land use section. And it would also add a definition of limited light industrial uses to the definition section of the comprehensive plan. Next slide, please. In our research in comparing different future land use categories and also doing comparative research with other jurisdictions. Next slide, please, HTV, if possible. Thank you. As far as the comparison for impacts, the category does not exist today, so there's no existing impact. But staff was proposing this new category to have a 0.25 floor area ratio or 175,000 square feet of non-residential, whichever is less. This category would allow no residential development, similar to the light industrial categories, but would allow for limited accessory residential like an on-site security guard. Again, similar to the light industrial categories. This category would allow for the consideration, as I mentioned, of this new definition, limited light industrial use, which would be defined as uses that are compatible with rural residential development patterns and do not produce significant noise, odor, smoke, or vibration. Examples include small-scale manufacturing, fabrication, and assembly of
94 dwelling units. And non-residential square footage would also potentially increase to a maximum of 153,000 square feet. Again, it does increase overall density and intensity, but under the Office Commercial 20, it would eliminate some considerations for light industrial uses. Excuse me. Next slide, please. That concludes my presentation. I'm available if you have any questions. Thank you.
Any questions, comments? Scroll through. I don't see any. Next item, please.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Item A7 will be presented by Tyreek Royal. Thank you.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Tyreek Royal, Planning Commission staff, and today I'll be presenting HE CPA 2531 at 12780 Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard and 2922 Shady Acres Road. This request is privately initiated small-scale map amendment with approximately 4.45 acres. The request is to change the land use designation from residential 1 to light industrial. The location of the site is in the eastern portion of unincorporated Hillsborough County, is a part of the October 2025 cycle within the rural area and within the limits of the Sefner Mango Community Plan. Sorry about that. There is an aerial photo of the site outlined here in pink. It is located north of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard. The surrounding uses include single-family uses to the south and east, light industrial uses further east along Martin Luther King, and public communication uses to the west. This category is in the residential 1 future land use category. It allows for the consideration of agricultural, farms, ranches, residential neighborhood commercial, offices, multi-purpose projects. Commercial uses are subject to locational criteria. The applicant is requesting the change of future land use category from residential 1 to light industrial. The light industrial category allows for consideration for agricultural, light industrial uses such as processing, manufacturing, recycling, storage of materials as predominant uses, including support offices, warehousing, and retail uses. The proposed amendment would eliminate any potential residential density and allow for greater commercial intensity. The density of 1 dwelling unit per gross acre would be eliminated, and the FAR would increase from a 0.25 FAR, or approximately 48,000 square feet, to a 0.75 FAR, or approximately 145,000 square feet. And that concludes my presentation. I'm here with any questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions, commissioners? Comments?
All right.
Anyone?
With item A8 being continued to the January cycle, we're on to item A9, which will be presented by Willow Mickey. Thank you.
Love that presentation. Good afternoon. My name is Willow Mickey with your Planning Commission staff. I will be presenting HCCPA 2533, which is located at College Avenue and 18th Street Southeast. Next slide, please. This request is a privately initiated small-scale map amendment. It is made up of 2 parcels that total approximately 19.53 acres. The request is to change the land use designation of these parcels from suburban mixed use 6 to residential 12. Next slide. This plan amendment is part of the October 2025 cycle, located in the urban service area, and was within the limits of the Ruskin Community Plan and the South Shore Area-Wide Systems Plan. Next slide. This is an aerial photo of the site, with the site outlined here in pink. It is located north of East College Avenue, west of 21st Street Southeast, and south of East Shell Point Road. Within the vicinity of the site, single-family residential uses are located to the northwest and east. There are 2 family uses also located to the west and northeast of the site. Directly to the east, there is a TICO easement, and across College Avenue to the south, there is additional vacant land. Further east of the site, there is a parcel with heavy commercial uses. Next slide. The site is in the SMU 6 future land use category. This category allows for the consideration of agricultural, residential, neighborhood commercial, office uses, research corporate park uses, light industrial multipurpose, and clustered residential and/or mixed use. Office uses are not subject to locational criteria. Surrounding land use categories include SMU 6 on all sides of the property. To the northwest of the site, there is residential 6, and further south across East Avenue, College Avenue, there is residential 4. Not seen on this particular map, but there is also residential 12 approximately 1 mile west of the site. Next slide. The request is to change the site to residential 12, which allows for the consideration of uses such as agricultural, residential, neighborhood commercial, office uses, multi-purpose projects, and mixed-use development. Next slide. This slide outlines the potential impacts of the requested land use change. Currently, under SMU 6, the site can be considered for up to 117 dwelling units and 425,363 square feet of non-residential. The change to residential 12 would allow for the consideration of 234 dwelling units and 425,363 square feet of non-residential uses. The proposed amendment would increase development potential by allowing consideration of higher residential density. Next slide. This concludes my presentation on this item. I'm here to answer any questions you may have. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anyone have questions?
Also be presented by Willow Mickey. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Willow Mickey again with your Planning Commission staff. I will be presenting HCCPA 2534, which is located at 8400 West Waters Avenue. Next slide, please. This request is a privately initiated small-scale map amendment. It is made up of a portion of one parcel that totals approximately 41.92 acres. The request is to change the land use designation of these parcels from residential 9 to residential 16. Next slide. This plan amendment is part of the October 2025 cycle, located in the urban service area, and is within the limits of the Town and Country Community Plan. Next slide. Here is an aerial photo of the site. It is located north of West Waters Avenue, west of Pinehurst Drive, and east of Sheldon Road. Within the vicinity of the site, there are single-family uses surrounding the site on all sides. To the east is a multifamily use and some light commercial uses. Also to the east of the site is the Upper Tampa Bay watershed. The purpose of this request is to conform the existing development to the modern comprehensive plan and land development code and to ensure the current occupants are not displaced. The use on the site has historically been mobile park units and assisted living facility. Currently, the assisted living facility portion is no longer operating. The balance of the multi-unit and single-unit mobile homes on the property continue to be occupied on a unit rental or lot rental basis. This continuation of the ALF use causes the density of the development to exceed the residential 9 feature land use designation. Since each mobile home unit has a kitchen, bathroom, sleeping, and living area, it is now by definition a dwelling unit under the comprehensive plan. Next slide. The site is in the residential 9 land use category. Residential 9 allows for the consideration of agricultural, residential, neighborhood commercial, office uses, multi-purpose projects, and mixed-use development. Surrounding land use categories include Res 6 to the north, Residential 9 to the east and west, with Res 12 further west of the Res 9. To the south, there is Residential 4 and Residential 2. Next slide. Next slide, please. Thank you. The request is to change the site to Residential 16, which allows for the consideration of uses such as agricultural, residential, neighborhood commercial, office uses, multi-purpose projects, and mixed-use development. Next slide. This slide outlines the potential impacts of the requested land use change. Currently, under Residential 9, the site can be considered for up to 377 dwelling units and 913.17 square feet of non-residential. The change to Residential 16 would allow for the consideration of 670 dwelling units and 913,017 square feet of non-residential uses. The proposed amendment will result in a potential increase in development by allowing consideration of higher residential density. Next slide. That concludes the presentation on this item. I'm here to answer any questions you may have. Thank you.
Any questions or comments on A10? Doesn't look like it.
Doesn't sound like it. Okay, so items A11 and A12 are similar to the previous coupled items. So we'll go ahead and present those one right after the other as well. And that will be Ms. Alexis Myers. Thank you.
Yes, good afternoon, Commissioners. Alexis Myers, Planning Commission staff. I'm here to present HCCPA 2535, located at 6210 County Road 579 for the Urban Service Area Expansion. Okay, and can you see the PowerPoint for CPA 2535?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay. This is a privately initiated map amendment that is small in scale and approximately 34 acres. The applicant is requesting to expand the urban service area. This amendment is associated with HCCPA 2536, which is a request to change the future land use category from residential 4 to suburban mixed use 6. As I mentioned, this amendment is associated with HCCPA 2536. It is in the rural area within the limits of the Tonota-Sassa Community Plan. It is located north of East Sly Avenue and west of County Road 579. Here is the area of the site. The site is outlined in pink, and the blue line indicates the urban service area boundary. The subject property is the Lazy Days RVs of Tampa. The site has wetlands and is in the evacuation zone E and FEMA flood zone X. Agriculture and RV uses are to the west. Single family uses are to the north and west. The Hillsborough Heights landfill is directly east across County Road 579. Industrial uses are to the north. Lastly, there are commercial uses to the north and south, just within the urban service area. Next are the impacts. This amendment would bring 34 acres into the urban service area, requiring at a minimum connection to public water and sewer. And this concludes my presentation for ACCPA 2535. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Commissioners, any questions or comments? I think we're good to move on to 812.
Okay, Alexis Myers again, here to present HCCPA 2536, located at 6210 County Road 579. Okay. This is a privately initiated map amendment that is small in scale and approximately 34 acres. The applicant is requesting to change the future land use category from residential 4 to suburban mixed use 6. This is the general location map. This amendment is associated with HCCPA 2535 to expand the urban service area. It is in the rural area and within the limits of the Tonota-Sassa Community Plan. Again, it is located north of East Sly Avenue and west of County Road 579. Here is the area of the site. The site is outlined in pink, and the blue line indicates the urban service area boundary. Currently, the future land use designation is residential 4. The Res 4 category allows 4 dwelling units per gross acre and a maximum floor area ratio of 0.25. This designation allows for the consideration of agricultural, residential, neighborhood commercial, office uses, and multi-purpose projects. Other future land use categories shown in this map include suburban mixed use 6 and community mixed use 12 to the south, public quasi-public to the east, and residential 1 to the west. The applicant is proposing to amend the future land use category to suburban mixed use 6. The SMU 6 category allows 6 dwelling units per gross acre and a maximum floor area ratio of 0.25. This designation allows for the consideration of agricultural, residential, neighborhood commercial, office uses, research corporate park uses, light industrial, multi-purpose, and cluster residential, and are mixed use. Office uses are not subject to the locational criteria. Next are the impacts. As far as existing conditions, currently under Res 4, the site could consider 136 dwelling units or 370,281 square feet of non-residential uses. Under the proposed future land use designation of SMU 6, the site can consider 204 dwelling units or a maximum intensity of 740,563 square feet of non-residential uses. During the rezoning process, commercial and locational criteria may affect the allowable square footage for potential non-residential development. This proposed amendment will result in an increase in development potential by allowing higher residential and greater commercial intensity. And this concludes my presentation for HCCPA 2536. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions or comments, commissioners? Next item, please.
All right, we can move on to item A13, which will be presented by Jillian Massey. Thank you. Jillian, you're perhaps muted. We don't hear anything quite yet. At least I don't.
I don't either.
Okay.
To the host too. I was trying to unmute myself. Can you all hear me now?
We can hear you now.
Okay, sorry about that. I'm trying to unmute myself, but then my presentation was getting in the way. Can you see my presentation at the full presentation mode?
It's not in presentation mode, but we can see the presentation. You're sharing your screen. There, now we can.
Okay, great. So sorry about that. This is Jillian Massey with Planning Commission staff. I'll be presenting a summary of HCCPA 25-37, which is located at 40 Ranch Road. This request is privately initiated, and it's a large-scale map amendment, meaning that it's over 50 acres. at a site located approximately on 7,944 acres. The request is to change the land use category from agricultural and mining 1 to 20, agricultural 1 to 10, agricultural rural 1 to 5, and natural preservation to planned environmental community 1 to 2. The subject site is in the northeast part of unincorporated county, abutting the Pasco County border. It's part of the October 2025 cycle of plan amendment requests. It's located in the rural area and it is not within the limits of a community plan. This is an aerial photo of the site outlined in pink. Generally, it's bound by the Pasco County border to the north, Paul Buckman Highway to the east, Quail Meadow Road to the south, and US Highway 301 to the west. Across 301 to the west is the Hillsborough River State Park, and further northwest, where you see the blue dotted line, is the Tampa service area. Currently, the site is undeveloped and contains a large area of environmentally sensitive land. Within the vicinity of the site, there is natural undeveloped land, agricultural uses, and single-family residential. As mentioned, the site's comprised of a number of future land use categories that you can see outlined in the legend on the map. Aside from the natural preservation category, which is the teal color on the map, where no development is permitted, the other categories generally allow for mining and related activities, farms, ranches, feedlots, low-density residential, neighborhood commercial, offices, and industrial uses related to agricultural uses. The site is surrounded by other rural land use categories, including agricultural estate 1 to 2.5 and residential 1. The planned environmental community 1 to 2 category is located to the west in that lime green color across US Highway 301, and that development contains the Two Rivers development. Other non-residential land use categories that are within the vicinity include natural preservation, which again is that teal color to the east and west, and heavy industrial to the northeast, which is the dark gray across Paul Buckman Highway. The request is to change the site to planned environmental community 1 to 2, which allows for consideration of uses such as agriculture, residential, neighborhood commercial, office uses, activity-based recreation, and mixed-use projects. Mining, feedlots, and industrial uses are not permitted. Residential development can be considered at a density of up to 1 dwelling unit per 2 gross acres, and non-residential development can be considered at an intensity of up to 0.25 floor area ratio, both subject to a variety of environmentally sensitive design criteria being met. This category also requires connection to water and wastewater utility services. This slide outlines the potential impacts of the requested land use change. The current conditions allow for the site to be considered for up to 704 dwelling units, or approximately 86.4 million square feet of non-residential development. The change to planned environmental community 1 to 2 would allow for consideration of up to 3,972 dwelling units, or approximately 86.5 million square feet of non-residential development, meaning overall the proposed amendment would allow for an increase in the potential residential density and commercial intensity. That concludes a summary of this request. If you have any questions, I'd be glad to answer. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any questions or comments, commissioners?
I'll just make a quick comment, Commissioner Miller. I mean, this looks big and scary because it's so much square footage, but really this is one of those deals where people should be excited that it's not somebody coming in asking for Res 4 over, you know, these thousands of acres. And I don't know that I've done a planned environmental community since I've been here. This might be the first one in at least 3 years since I've been here. So it says 86 million square feet, but you know, this is the same thing where we went through with the expansion of the urban service area. This isn't accounting for all of the wetlands, preservations, et cetera, that's going to have to go into stormwater land that's going to eat up, right? This is just like a flat number, Ms. Lionheart. Yeah, okay.
Yes,
I just like to
it's a gross calculation. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I just want to point that out since it's such a large thing. It can appear to be bigger and scarier than it actually is. So just wanted to make that point. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else?
Thank you.
I don't see anyone else.
Okay, that brings us to the
Thank you.
last item for this workshop, which is item A14, and that will be presented by Lily Lanahan. Thank you. Lily, we can see your presentation, but if you're speaking, you're perhaps muted.
I apologize. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you
I think
now.
I was muted. I apologize for that. All right. Good afternoon, Commissioners. Lillian Lenahan, Planning Commission staff here, and I am here to present HCCPA 2538, located at 11017 East Highway 92. This is a privately initiated map amendment that is small in scale and approximately 4.36 acres. The applicant is requesting to change the future land use designation from residential 9 to suburban mixed use 6. This is the general location map. It's in the urban service area and within the limits of the Sefner Mango Community Plan, and is located south of East US Highway 92, east of Williams Road, and west of East Mobley Villa Drive. Here is an aerial of the site. The subject site is currently outlined in pink. The site has a mobile home park, and there are light commercial uses to the north, east, west of the site, with some heavy commercial to the west, and single-family uses are located to the east, west, and south of the site. There are public, quasi-public institutional uses to the north, and there is one educational use to the east of the site. I would just like to point out on this map, you can see that the request is for a portion of 2 parcels that takes up the residential 9 future land use. And currently the future land use under residential 9 allows for 9 dwelling units per gross acre and a maximum floor area ratio of 0.5. This designation allows for the consideration of agricultural, residential, neighborhood, commercial, office uses, multi-purpose projects, and mixed-use development. I apologize. The other future land use categories near the subject site include suburban mixed use 6 to the north, residential 9, and community mixed use 12 to the east and the west, and urban mixed use 20 to the west. Under the proposed future land use category of suburban mixed use 6, the category allows for 6 dwelling units per gross acre and a maximum floor area ratio of 0.5, and would allow for the consideration of agricultural, residential, neighborhood, commercial, office uses, research corporate park uses, light industrial, multi-purpose projects, and clustered residential and or mixed use. Under existing conditions, the site could be considered for a maximum of 39 dwelling units or 94,960 square feet of non-residential uses. And under the proposed future land use designation of suburban mixed use 6, the site could be considered for a maximum of 26 dwelling units or 94,960 square feet for non-residential uses, and during the rezoning process, commercial locational criteria may affect the allowable square footage for potential non-residential development. The proposed amendment would decrease residential density, would not increase the potential of commercial intensity, but it will increase the allowable ranges of uses to include light industrial uses. This concludes my presentation for HCCPA 2538, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you very much. Any questions, comments, commissioners? Well, thank you for everyone that presented today. Is there anything else?
Not from our end. Planning Commission staff's workshop appears to be completed after those items. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I'll adjourn that meeting, and if IT is good with me moving on to the water and wastewater impact fees public workshop number 2, I will do so.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Good afternoon. Welcome back. And there will be no action or vote taken by the board today. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to you, Mr. Cassidy.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good afternoon, Commissioners. This is the second of two workshops for the proposed increases to the water and wastewater impact fees. The workshop today is dedicated to the extraordinary circumstances necessitating the need to exceed the phased-in limitations for the South Central service area. Today, giving our presentation is going to be Lisa Ray, our Water Resources Department Director, along with our impact fee consultant, Justin Grant with Stantec. They will make a brief presentation, and then we will follow up with a board discussion. Lisa?
Thank you, Commissioner. Lisa Ray, Director of Water Resources. We appreciate you taking the time to be with us today. So HTV is going to be doing our presentation for us, so I'll be asking them to move on to the next slide, please. So we are here to talk about impact fees, but just as a high level, what are they? And they're a one-time fee paid to, because of that, we are required to demonstrate.
So with that population growth comes an increase in demand, and 57,000 of the population growth is in the South Central service area. This has driven a substantial increase.
Plant, associated pipelines, and we are coordinating the placement of the plant and the timing of.
There are about $5,865 there in the South Central region. And so given that these new facilities that are in process are being designed to serve for new growth, this provides the basis for these updated fees. And that updated cost as a result of our study and the project data provided is about $13,270 per ERC. Hence the reason we're here discussing extraordinary circumstances. Also notable on the left side of this chart, while it's not the topic of today's hearing, this impact fee analysis did also conduct a study for the Northwest service area, and where there is still some remaining capacity to serve growth. That fee was based on the current cost of existing infrastructure in the areas adjusted to today's dollars and accounting for depreciation. The good news here is that those fees can be implemented under the current limitations of the Florida Impact Fee Act. Next slide. All right, as you can see, the fee adjustments for South Central are significant. And in light of the extraordinary circumstances, we wanted to take a moment to discuss the failure to acknowledge these circumstances and to move forward with updated fees has significant impacts in the South Central service area and on the county as a whole. The failure to acknowledge extraordinary circumstances in the service area could have a variety of financial impacts. Based on current growth projections, this could accumulate to approximately 200 to 250 million in revenue losses over the next 10 years. If funding for growth and related infrastructure was not able to be addressed through growth-related fees, it could create philosophical issues, as it would have to come through other mechanisms like rates and additional borrowing. This could also result in additional impacts to the overall utility financial health, including credit ratings, interest rates, and added borrowing. We just want to take a moment to highlight some of those things in consideration, and I'll turn it back over to Lisa to discuss the next steps in the timeline.
So next slide, please. So the timeline moving forward is pretty aggressive. We are finishing the second public noticed workshop right now as we speak. We will be holding the public hearing at the December 17th Board of County Commissioners regular meeting. It's scheduled for 10 a.m. to consider the impact fee rate adjustments. And that will be a public hearing where we will be taking comment if there is comment. And then pending board approval or board direction at that point, we will begin preparations for implementation in the spring of 2026. At this point, it looks like that will probably be late March. And with that, I thank you for your attention, and we'd be happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Justin, Lisa, and George. I know in yesterday's meeting, both Commissioner Whistle and Commissioner Sloan mentioned that they wanted to comment. I'm not sure which one of you would like to go first.
Harry's far more eloquent than me. He can start first.
Then we'll start with Commissioner Cohen.
Thank you. I'm going to try to be brief. You can. I'm hearing a lot of feedback. But what I want to say are things. There's a question that we need to do this. It's very, very important. And philosophically, I agree that new growth can pay for itself. I'm concerned that the ramp in county is extremely steep to influence all at once. And I think that we should consider some sort of phase in that portion of the county. Thing that is going to raise.
Mr. Cohen, I'm sorry. I'm going to stop you. I was trying really hard to get what you're saying there, but I don't think your audio is quite good enough. Can we pause your thoughts? And I'm really sorry because I'm sure it was eloquent, as Commissioner Whistle said. Can we jump to him and have him fix your audio?
Sure. I can't understand you either, actually.
And if Lisa, you could mute your mic.
That would help.
Should
we try again? Let me see. Go ahead.
Maybe everyone should use their mics. Is that any better?
It's not better for me. What about? I don't know where tech.
Let me try to mute everybody's mics instead of Commissioner Owen, and let me see if that fixes it. 1 sec.
Okay.
Commissioner Cohen, if you can turn off your webcam, that might help improve the bandwidth.
Is that better?
It does seem to be a little better.
Doesn't sound much better to me. Is that better?
Not sure.
Yeah. I don't.
Go ahead and try and talk, Commissioner.
Okay. Can you understand me now?
It does sound better if you can keep resuming, yeah.
Okay, well, let me see if I can try again. Feel free to, I can already can't understand what you're saying. I'm not sure what to do. Commissioner, do you want to maybe your works?
Sorry, they had muted me as well. I'm sorry, I cannot understand you. If I can understand you, then the public probably can't either, and I would really like to hear. So I'm not sure if they can fix it, or perhaps you can come down to one of our offices and
Why don't
do this.
You can do that. If somebody's working, Christina here's working. I'll come down to your office.
Yep, that'll be perfect.
I'm just going to walk in. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Better run fast.
We're going to give Commissioner Cohen a minute to get down here and let him jump into somebody's office. I'm not sure if it was on his end.
Staff might want to mute his computer because it's still giving feedback.
Come on, sorry about that.
Okay, let's see if this works.
Like
all right. Is this any better?
Much better.
Much. Okay. What I was going to say is that obviously we need very much to do this work. It's very important, and the growth demands it. Tampa Bay Water is already our partner in some of it. My concern is that with ramping these fees up without imposing it all at once, without any kind of phase-in, is going to increase the cost of a new home by like $13,000 starting on January 1st of next year, according to my understanding of how this will work. And I think that given the crisis in home ownership, given the expense of things, and the fact that this is most likely going to be passed directly on to consumers, we need to find a way to do something more similar to what's been proposed in the northwest part of the county. So that's my first statement about it. The second is that We really need to, we are in the beginnings of another drinking water emergency that will probably lead Swift Mud to impose a 1-day-a-week watering ban on residential properties fairly soon. Notwithstanding the recent rains that we've had, as Commissioner Wastel knows, we're behind, and we're rapidly approaching the point where there's going to be imposed conservation methods. The city of Tampa, after the last time that we had that, did not go back to 2-day-a-week watering. They remained at 1 day a week. And if everyone remembers, 50% of our potable water use is irrigation. So making an adjustment like that could really help us reduce our consumption of water, which would also be something that would help us in terms of the bottom line of this whole project. So those are really my two general comments about it. The main thing being that I just think there needs to be a phase-in of this and not impose it all at once. And Commissioner Wastel, you can go ahead.
Great. George, you and I had a conversation that I'll dive into a little bit now, and colleagues will just have to hear me repeat it during the actual adoption hearing on the 17th. But that's going back to the rate study that I mentioned, that 50% of it for a monthly water bill was found to actually be increases for new users, meaning one water. Is that correct? Is that what was established at that past meeting?
You know, Commissioner, when we talked about that and the Raftellus statements, I'm going to have to go back and review what Raftellus said, because I'm not sure that I recall that. And I trust that you heard what you heard, right? But you know, in terms of recovering costs for capital construction, we rely on our impact fees to do that. We don't rely necessarily on user rates to do that. But with that said, I'd like to go back and review that that discussion.
Okay, because right now, one water, we've been saying for years, it's paid for. It's paid for bonding it, right?
Well, it's going to be paid for with bonding that we haven't secured yet. But yes, it is paid for through borrowed money.
When you go back and review that and you hear him say that, my question is going to be that 50% of those increases were in fact for new users. And this is to actually capture the costs of those new users. I want to hear what the plan is from the water department to phase down those increases that were said to be increased for new impacts once we start capturing impact fees. That's my first point. My second thing is that I want this easier to understand on how many units are we saying is going to pay for this? And you and I did a quick math scenario, and I'd like to rework through that math exercise, which is, how did we get to this amount of money per house? You must know how many predicted households we're going to be able to grow. We're planning for, right? This one water is for planning for new growth, not just existing customers. So we must know how many new households we're planning for. What's that number?
So you're absolutely right. So our planning staff works very closely with the Planning Commission staff and other planning groups to look at what the forecast is. What's the current anticipated growth capacity with the current land use that we have today? We don't project into the future to play the what if game. You know, what if there's a comprehensive plan amendment that adds more urban space? We look at the existing land use and look at what the possibilities are for added rooftops. And so we look at that and we project into the future. As we mentioned before, we're planning on building a 24 million gallon per day wastewater treatment plant. If you look at what a single family residence typically generates in our planning model is 225 gallons per day. One number into another number yields a little over 100,000 single family residents, but it's not going to be all single family residents. In our planning model, there's going to be commercial space, there's going to be schools, there's going to be strip centers or malls. There's all kinds of commercial development that certainly use a lot more than a single family, or would generate a lot more wastewater than a single family residence. So we have those numbers. I don't have them in front of me, but I'm happy to gather that up. And Lisa's team, she's got that. We can bring that to the table.
Yeah, I mean, we have to see that number. I mean, the Planning Commission keeps saying that we're going to be at 2 million people by what, 2050? So 400,000 people over the next 25 years. And we're predicting this will cover 106,000 households. Is that what work off of predicting what, 2.5 people per household? Is that about what you say? So, I mean, you see where I'm going with basic math here. I mean, are we saying that one water is going to effectively service?
Then we'll be looking at another expansion.
Because you said that you guys don't do it off of future expected growth areas, but you must. I mean, you must be doing it off of, because the Little Manatee, I haven't looked at what numbers that'll produce, nowhere near 250, plus the I-4 expansion. I mean, we must be looking beyond what the current urban service area expansions are going to be. I mean, which would be fine with me. It would make sense. But it's been hard for me. Mr. Grant, I know, you're the professional in this field, but I'm pretty good at numbers. And it's difficult for me to just read this and there not be an executive summary for not just the commissioners, but the community to say, hey, they don't care about acronyms like MGD. Say, this is how much water for this amount of impact fee, and here's the number that you get to pay for the cost of the new construction. It should be very A plus B plus D. See where I'm going? Clear as mud. I mean, that's how these things should be pitched, because when it's confusing to me, I almost guarantee I was following staff's social media post on the announcement of these impact fees, and the comments were, F you commissioners, you're raising my water bill. And I was like, yeah, this is not your water bill. This is just impacts for developers whom you scream that you hate. So like this is for their fee. And the point of me telling you that is the level of education that the average citizen has about our jargon, our terminology in this space. So something that makes it much more clear that if it's 106,000 households, I don't see the need for us to immediately jump the impact fees on January the 1st, like Commissioner Cohen said, because the Planning Commission has been studying for, it's a slow process. We're going to have to go back to them and ask them to expedite at this point about, hey, when is the expansion area? When are the expansion areas coming? Those aren't going to come anytime soon. The land is not going to be zoned, platted and graded and then constructed, which is the time that we actually capture. We don't collect impact fees at zoning. We do it when they actually complete the construction. So that's years out. So I don't understand why it has to be January the 1st. If that's what we're saying, is that it's for 106,000 people for new customers. Do you see my challenge with making the math on this?
I do. And you're making some really good points. And I'd like to point out that we have to borrow the money to build the infrastructure up front. And it would be like you building a house and nobody moves in for 6 months. You still built the house, you spent the money, and you're paying the mortgage on it, even if nobody lives there. So similarly, we're going to build a 24 million gallon per day plant. If we don't hook up anybody in the first 2 years, we've still borrowed that money and spent that money. And so we need to start collecting back on it as soon as the first rooftop goes up. And then we wouldn't anticipate, collecting all of it until the last rooftop is built sometime down the road, whether it's 15 or 20 years down the road. So, but you're asking some good questions, and we can certainly help simplify the discussion in terms of the planning horizon, the number of homes, the number of businesses, the square footage, whatever, that's anticipated to be connected over the foreseeable future.
So I do have one question, Commissioner Whistle, on that topic. If for clarification, in the presentation, the timeline says 90 days post-adoption, which would be the beginning of Q2, well, our Q3, right? So of 2026.
Beginning of
Is
April.
that correct?
Yeah, it'd be, we would begin the first house built in April, of the first
March 23rd is the date that it's a Monday, March 23rd.
So we wouldn't start any assessments in January, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Thank you. I just wanted clarification on that. I was a little confused. Thank you.
So if you did a phased-in approach on this area, would you not be able to do the bonding? Would it kill the deal?
You could. We could do bonding still. So your options would be a 2-year, 3-year, or 4-year phase-in, and we can. Lisa is prepared and Justin is prepared to bring those scenarios to the table.
And yeah, I mean, I guess my point is, unless the Planning Commission is bringing us like a Christmas surprise and says, hey, just kidding, we finished all those studies that we've had for like almost, I don't know, 2 years now ago we asked them to do that? 18 months? I don't know. We don't have the future growth anyways. I mean, even the WVR2, even though we said 10,000 units, 2/3 of it was already developed at residential 2. And so it's like significantly less than 10,000 units. So that's why I'm like, well, how much is the Little Manatee expansion area going to, out of this 106,000 households? How many is that potentially going to bring? And I know these are gross numbers. It's not the actual real numbers, but this is why I chose not to speak yesterday, because I mean, no one came anyways. And I want the numbers. I'm not saying you've lost my support, and I'm not trying to talk anybody out of it. It was my motion to do full cost recovery, but I want the numbers to be very clear and also to be workable for the community.
Got it.
So I looked at your graphs and honestly, like I thought when you guys first came, I thought the study was done, but the study was not done until 8 days ago, which then, and part of my conversation was that I want to make sure that all of the community is notified, that they have their own opportunity. They can get their own person to refute Stantec if they want and say, hey, we disagree with these line items or their modeling because of, whatever reason they say. And then we can have that dialogue and that conversation. And I didn't realize that it was not done until I had asked for it on the 2nd. It was basically done that day. So it's like, it kind of.
So I'd like to clarify, Commissioner, that the study was done. All of the numbers were done months ago. What was not done was finalizing the report and signing the report, because we were still not sure exactly what direction, whether we were going to go full cost recovery or whether we were going to do only up to the 50%, or if there were still unanswered items. So all of the calculations and all of the study had been completed already at that point. It just needed to be wrapped together with the direction that we had received.
Yeah, I mean, it's okay. I mean, the report wasn't done and available for the community to review. It's the same.
That's correct.
The same scenario. And I guess it's, this Schedule 8 down near the bottom, I just think that it's really important that people have an opportunity to scrutinize it, and say, hey, we disagree with, whatever these numbers are. We disagree with the formula that was used, whatever it might be. And we hear that. I'm not the type of person that's trying to railroad anything, except for the fake affordable housing community, but not normal things like water and wastewater. I just want to make sure that it's the real number, and the cost of doing business is the cost of doing business, just like the cost of a corrugated box at my UPS store was the cost of the corrugated box, and it was what it was. And I just want to make sure that we have that real number, that value engineering was done and scrutinized, and that there's not a lot of fluff in here, in this report that I don't know. I don't know Stantec's models. I don't know the variable inputs that they use to determine, if it's based off of flat ratios. What's the measurability of waste that you guys calculated in there? Is it something significantly higher than we might? You see where I'm going? Is there's a lot of different things that since this was so rushed, and then I tried to get through the report the best I could. I definitely think that we need to see the phased in approach options and what that would look like, how that would impact bondability. I still want full cost recovery. I believe that's what we should do. Because if not, our existing families are going to be the ones that are subsidizing those losses. So those are my comments right now, and then we'll see what gets done on the 17th. Thank you, Commissioner Miller.
I have a few questions.
Thank you, sir.
And thank you for the presentation. But I am concerned about the cost increase for the rate. Will we have the opportunity to have community engagement with the communities? Because at 10 o'clock in the morning, we know we're not going to get that many people, and we're asking for the rate that we're asking. Have y'all gone out to the community in the afternoon to have an evening?
Commissioner, that's a great comment. And so the community that we're talking about is the development community, the developers, because they are the ones that pay these impact fees. Our existing customers do not pay these in their rates at all.
Forget that. But have you gone to them even in the afternoon or when they meet to share with them what's coming? Because we know more likely it's going to be passed down.
Yeah.
Okay. Some of it's going to be passed down, if not all of it, some of it.
We've interacted with the TBBA, who's very active and engaged in these kinds of matters and discussions. And so it's the information in the reports that Stantec has produced has been provided to the development community. They've got the information.
And they're ready to move forward.
They're ready to come to the public hearing next Wednesday and speak their mind is what they're ready to do.
I figured that. Okay. Because thank you. I think there's an opportunity, and I get it, what we need to do and what we have to do. But it's a timing, it's just right to do this increase that we're talking about, like next year. And I get it, and I agree with what you're saying. When it comes to a bond, it's like building the house and you still got to pay the mortgage. But, we're projecting so much out in the 2040. So then my next question was going to be, when is the next time we're going to ask for the rate increase? Because when you're talking about $37 increase, and even though we're talking to developers and it's going to be passed down, okay, then what is the next one? We can't wait like 5 and 10 years before you ask for another rate increase. We need something that can be affordable that people can pay, and even when a developer passes it down to a potential homeowner.
Yes, ma'am.
I mean, everyone don't have the extra money. They just don't. Times are tough for people who want to become a homeowner. You know, we just can't say it's just a developer because they're selling it to a homeowner. And people are already talking now that they cannot afford a home. It costs too much. Majority of people moving back home with their parents because they can't afford. You just can't afford out there. Whether they're trying to get an apartment, whether they're trying to have a family, whether they're trying to buy a house. Take all that into consideration. And I know, and I get it, we have to move the county forward and plan for the next phase to build what we need with the growth that we're expecting. But I just wish there was other scenarios so we can look at the balance, the whole situation. Those are my comments.
Very thoughtful discussion. Anyone else that I'm missing? Mr. Cassidy, do you have anything you'd like to add?
Madam Chair, I've taken some notes. I'm going to see if I can get with the team and we'll circle back with a few suggestions based on the comments.
Excellent. Thank you. Last call before I join this meeting. Anyone? If not, we're adjourned. Thank you very much. Have a great afternoon.